Of Parshat Zachor. Parshat Zachor, we're going to read not this Saturday, next Saturday. What is Zachor? Zachor is about remembering, right? We all know the word Zachor from the Holocaust. Every time Memorial will say Zachor, remember. Remembering what? Remembering the Amalekites. Then, and why we read it next week? Because it's a Shabbos before Purim. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. And it's a Shabbos before Purim, and Purim, we read the story of the Megillah. Haman wanted to destroy the Jews. The Talmud tells us that Haman is a descendant of Amalek. Then Shabbos before Purim, we read the story of Amalek. The mitzvah to remember Amalek. Now, before the Haftorah is also about a story of Amalek in the prophets, in the book of Samuel. Before we go to the story of Samuel, we will first see in the Bible where it started the whole story with Amalek, and from there we'll go to the Haftorah. Then first we'll open on the end of Parshat Beshalach, on page 343. First of all, who is Amalek?
Grandson of Esau.
Grandson of Esau. Esau is the son Eliphaz. Eliphaz is the son, his name is Amalek. Amalek received from his grandfather the hated, whole anger and hate that Esau had for Jacob. And it was giving him with his mother's milk. And he grew up to be somebody who hates Jews for no reason. And it starts right after the Jews left Egypt. The Jews left Egypt. It was the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea. It was unbelievable. The whole world was scared of the Jews. If you read in the Song of the Sea, it's called, we describe how the whole world was afraid of the Jewish people. If you look on page 329, I'm sorry that I schlepped you to another page. (329), that's the Song of the Sea. Read number 14.
Nations heard and shuddered. Terror gripped those who dwell in Philistia. Edom's chiefs then panicked. Moab's heroes were seized with trembling. Canaan's residents melted away.
Melted away! People were scared to death of the Jews. Nobody would dare to touch the people of God. And then, doesn't take long, they go out from Egypt. We go back to page 343. Before we turn around, Amalek came. Amalek arrived. Read it, please.
Amalek arrived and attacked Israel there in Rephidim.
Amalek arrived. Arrived from where? From nowhere. The Jews didn't go on his way. The Jews didn't try to take his land. Nothing. Amalek came to fight with the Jews. The other nations, the Jews were on the way. Some fought, some cooperated. That's normal. Amalek came from nowhere to fight the Jews. He couldn't stand that the Jews are successful. And that's an Amalekite. Somebody who hates the Jew just because he was a Jew. Not because he's taking away his territory, not because he's competing with them, not because anything, nothing. He hates a Jew who lives in New Zealand. You never met him, you don't know who he is. Just like this. That's Amalek came and attacked the Jews in Rephidim. Okay, continue. Moses said to Joshua,
Moses said to Joshua, "Choose men for us and prepare for battle against Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill and with the staff of God in my hand." Joshua did as Moses had told him, engaging Amalek in battle. Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held his hands up, Israel would be winning. But as soon as he let his hands down, the battle would go in Amalek's favor. When Moses' hands became weary, they took a stone and placed it under him, so that he would be able to sit on it. Aaron and Hur then held his hands one on each side, and his hands remained steady until sunset. Joshua was thus able to break the ranks of Amalek and his allies with the sword.
Then what Joshua accomplished? He was able to do what? Break the ranks of Amalek. What does this mean?
It's a military term. conquered them, basically, beat them in battle.
In Hebrew, vayachlosh. Vayachlosh means he made them weaker. He didn't conquer them completely. He didn't eradicate them. He made them weaker. It means they are still there. Tomorrow they're still there. Yeah, you won this fight, but you didn't get rid of them. This nudnikes, this pain will be there again and again. Here comes a divine revenge. Go ahead, you want to read? Please.
God said to Moses, "Write this as a reminder in the book and repeat it carefully to Joshua. I will totally obliterate the memory of Amalek from under the heavens." Moses built an altar and he named it, "God is my banner." He said, "The hand is on God's throne. God shall be at war with Amalek for all generations."
Here comes something unusual. It's not the Jews are at war with Amalek. God is at war with Amalek. Why? Because Amalek wanted to show that God is not the boss. God made miracles, made the Jewish people the strongest nation. Comes Amalek and said, I can fight them. I'm not afraid of God. Amalek's war against the Jews was not against the Jews. It was against what Jews represent. God. That's what he was against. And as the Medrash brings this amazing example of a bathtub, a mikveh, a swimming pool is very hot. Nobody dares to jump in. Comes one Meshuggah jumps in. He burns himself up. But you know what? It's not so hot anymore. People are not afraid anymore. Say, oh, he did it and he came out alive. I can do it.
Cools it down.
He cools it down. The Jewish people, the world was in awe of the miracles that God made to the Jews. Came Amalek, he fought the Jews, he lost the war. But you know what? They're like everybody else. The fear is gone.
It's like the terrorists today. I mean, they can lose a lot more.
Oh, what happened in Israel? After 6-day war, Israel had what it's called the fear. The nations were afraid to start up with them. And then little by little, Israel lost it. Now, everybody's on the hood and everybody can fight with them. And it's called in Hebrew koach harta'ah. I don't know what the word for it in English, but there is a word for it that you have a power that people are afraid to start up with you. You don't even have to fight. There is no wars America needs to be involved, really. Nobody starts up with America because they're so strong. America sometimes gets involved in wars in other places, but nobody lately came and said, "I'm going to attack United States of America." They are so strong they don't need to. Nobody even dares to do it. That's what the Jewish people lost by the attack of the Amalek. That God says, "This war is my war."
Rabbi, but didn't God know when He basically created Esau, and promised him to have many nations, for his mother actually, to have many nations, that something like this would happen? He knows the outcome.
Well, he knows the outcome, and what was the outcome is two separate things. Amalek were the one, they didn't get a prophecy from God to go against the Jews. They did it on their own free choice. And God says, God, so to speak, was swearing with his hand that I personally wage a war against the Amalekites. A personal war in God. All the other nations did the Jews. God gives them miracles, sometimes more, sometimes less. Amalek, it's God's war, not the Jews' war.
But it's interesting, he uses the word totally obliterate the memory of Amalek. So that doesn't mean that Amalek's been all killed then.
Amalek is still existing, yeah. Now, we just don't know who is Amalek. Today we don't know who is Amalek. All the nations are mixed already for generations and generations. We don't know who is the Amalekites. This is the first time the story of Amalek is written. Then in Deuteronomy, the Torah repeats it. Actually, what we're going to read next week is from the book of Deuteronomy, not what I showed you now. In the end of Parshas Kiseitze, one second, we'll find it. Page 989. In top of the page, 989. Remember what Amalek. Go ahead.
Remember what Amalek did to you on your way out of Egypt.
Go ahead. You're doing well. Go ahead.
When they encountered you on the way and you were tired and exhausted, they cut off those lagging to your rear and they did not fear God.
Okay. First of all, remember what Amalek did to you. Number 18, the word, when they, what they did? Encountered you on the way. It's encountered, but the word in Hebrew is an unusual word. Asher karcha baderech. Korcha, if you look at number 18 on the Hebrew side, the second word. Korcha, you see it? In the Hebrew side. Korcha could also mean he cooled you off, he cooled off the fear of you. Later we learn now it says a spiritual meaning. But he cooled off the fear from the Jewish people of the world is not afraid anymore. And you were weary, right?
Tired.
And tired. And they did not fear God. It's not, this is a commentary. What's written is, and not feared God. You can say it on the Jews, or you can say it on the Amalekites, this line, and not fear God. Rashi says it's talking about the Amalekites. Now God gives a special order, a special mitzvah. Number 18.
Therefore, when God gives you peace from all the enemies around you in the land that God your Lord is giving you to occupy as a heritage, you must obliterate the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. You must not forget.
Obliterate. Nothing less than that. And when you should do it? When God gives you time and you relax. You finish it all your enemies. Now you better remember God's enemies. Go and obliterate them. Not written anywhere such a thing about obliterating anybody. Actually, in this parsha, it's written when you have do not hate an Egyptian because he welcomed you in his land. Do not hate a Moabite. There's a few, right? Do not hate a Ammonite. And here it is. Look on page 977, for example. Number 8. 977, number 8. Go ahead.
Do not despise the Edomite, since he is your brother. Do not despise the Egyptian, since you were an immigrant in his land.
That the same Torah tells you 2 pages before, do not despise the Egyptian who give you tzores, right? Do not judge 80 years of suffering. Do not judge the Edomite. Comes to Amalek, whoa! He obliterated them from the face of the earth. Why? Because he was fighting God. He was fighting the Jews as they represent God. What he didn't like about the Jews that they represent God. Actually, Hitler also said it. That the Jews represent something above logic, above nature. They represent a believing God, and therefore we have to obliterate them. That's exactly the same language that he was using. And we have it once in the book of Exodus. Then we have it in the book of Deuteronomy. It's considered Mishneh Torah. The book of Deuteronomy is like a repetition. Moses said a speech in 5 weeks before he died. It has a different category than the first 4 books of Moses. First book is God said to Moses, say to the Jews. The 5th book is Moses' monologue to the Jewish people. It's a different level. That the Torah made sure it's in Exodus, and again in the monologue. Then it comes to the prophet. It's again, the Tanakh. The Tanakh is divided into 3 general categories. Tanakh stands for the Bible. Taf, the letter Taf stands for Torah, the 5 books of Moses. The Nun stands for Nevi'im, prophet. And the Chaf stands for the word Ktuvim. Ktuvim is scriptures. The book of Esther, the book of Ruth.
Right.
It's called writings. It's the book of Psalms. All of these are called scriptures. Then the story of Amalek is in the Bible, in the prophet, and in the scriptures. Everywhere. Now we'll read it where it's in the prophets. That's the Haftorah.
Are we commanded to hate Amalek? I don't see that we're commanded to obliterate them, whatever that means. But are we commanded to actually hate them?
So.
Probably easier to obliterate someone if you don't like them.
But interestingly,
If you have any passion for them, you're not going to obliterate them.
Obviously,
But like you said, they're not a people
No.
anymore.
No,
They
no.
were once a people, but now
not only they're
just-
not a people.
Right, so
So what does this
It's
mean
more,
today?
it's an abstraction.
Well, it's a concept.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. The before I cannot hold you, with you holding your breath until we end the class and then tell you, we will speak about it right now. Amalek means a spiritual concept in my own soul. I have an Amalek right here. Amalek is the side of you that tells you, cools you off. You have an excitement. Let's go to the class. Oh, you're tired. We are all want to go to volunteer. Let's go volunteer. Guy says volunteer this place. If you go volunteer, let's go to other place. We know we're not going not here and not there. That's Amalek. Amalek, I want to give charity. If you want to give charity, give already to this synagogue. We go, oh, we know it's not giving. First of all, it's not giving enough. Huh? Then you forget, go next. Amalek is the one who puts the doubt. Amalek in Hebrew, in Gematria, you know Gematria is the numerical value of every word? The word of Amalek and the word of Safek is the same Gematria, the same numerical value. Safek means doubt. You know, sometimes people have clarity about themselves. They go, they'll do, and they're successful. Then somebody comes and says, who says this? Maybe this. Shine, they killed everything. And you go home and say, maybe. I was all so sure and so excited about doing it. And I came and said, maybe that's not the right way. Who says God wanted this way? Maybe. One maybe can kill 1,000 people, excited of 1,000 people. That's Amalek.
So it kills your spirit, in other words?
Yeah, it cools you off.
Is this the same as the Yetzer Hara?
Yeah, but how is the Yetzer Hara working? It's a little Amalek. Amalek can be with a long white beard and a big black hat, and you know. And he says, that's it. He didn't have to say anything. You know, the Jews left Egypt with Moses. According to the Medrash, and it makes sense, a fifth left. You know who left? The guys who said, Moses, you're going, we're with you. Not necessarily the great rabbis. I'm sure there were people with long white beards that said, Reb Moshe, yeah, going to the desert. Go, if it works out for you, send us a telegram, we'll come. Amalek is the one who is not ready to go all the way. Nachshon, when came this bleeding of the sea, Moses says, go. Everybody stands, go. Go where? The water is here. Was one Meshuggah now, Nachshon jumped into the water. If not for Nachshon, we would still wait still there by the water until today. Amalek is the one who is giving you the doubts, who is every time throwing the little bit of cold water into the hot pot, and it cools off the whole excitement of Judaism, of spirituality. Spirituality is all about excitement. People get excited. And then somebody walks in, what are you so excited about? You feel like an idiot. That's Amalek. And that's the Amalek we are speaking today. But until it came to this point, you need to understand why the rabbis and the Hasidic philosophy came to this kind of an Amalek. Because the physical Amalek, even when he was alive and well, not necessarily we have to kill him always. There is a hope for Amalek. What's the hope?
The children of Haman converted, right?
Talmud says the children of Haman learn Torah in Bnei Brak. I grew up in Bnei Brak. I'm not from the children of Haman, I can promise you that. I hope. Then, if Haman is Amalek, and Amalek you have to obliterate, how could they learn Torah in Bnei Brak? Obviously, if they convert, that's okay. That even an Amalek has redemption. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
As long as he's an Amalek, then he has no redemption. But the moment he believes in God, it's a different story. You know, many times when people read, liberate Amalek, and people read the Parshat Haftorah, they come to me, I have a hard time with these words, I have an issue with this Parshat, I have this. I tell them, close the book. So go look around you in the shul. Anybody killed anybody lately? No. Then that's first of all, we don't kill anyone. And don't have issues. You need to understand, learn a little more. You'll understand what we're talking about. Now, this Haftorah is in the time of the prophet Samuel and King Saul. King Saul is the first king of the Jewish people. Until then, there was judges. The judges were kind of leaders. They were appointed for the time. It was a war. They needed somebody to help them. God sent somebody to redeem them. A judge came, saved them. but it wasn't an organized government. It's not that the old Jews were under one king, and it was really something real, a kingdom. It wasn't a country yet, so to speak. Came King Saul, the Jewish people came to Samuel and told him, we want a king, right? Samuel didn't like it, God didn't like it, but if you want a king, we'll give you a king. Saul was the first king. Saul was modest, nice, humble, gold. The beginning of Saul was so promising, was so unbelievable. You cannot even imagine. When Samuel told Saul that he's supposed to be a king, he ran away, he didn't tell anybody. When they finally came to crown him as a king, he had to schlep him from the back. He was hiding. And he started wars, and he was very successful, and Hashem was with him. Until this Haftorah, everything changed. Let's read from inside. 1275. Mr. Martel, you want to start?
And Samuel said to Saul, God sent me to anoint you king over his people Israel. Therefore listen to God's words. This is
Okay, here it was after Saul made a few wars and conquered the Philistines and put things into place and made already kind of a Jewish country, a Jewish land, and he, so to speak, rested from his enemies, right? And we read just in the Torah that when you rest from your God will give you rest from all your other enemies, then you should go to obliterate Amalek. Okay.
This is what the Lord of hosts says. I remember what Amalek did to Israel, waylaying him when he came up from Egypt. Now go.
And how much was from King Saul until the time they left Egypt? From the time they left Egypt until King Saul?
That was 400 years.
350 years.
Okay.
It was a while, right? But God says, I didn't forget what Amalek did to you. Therefore go now.
Now go and strike down Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Do not leave anything. Sounds very not politically correct, you know.
I don't know if you substituted the word ISIS in there, you'd get a lot of agreement today.
Oh, exactly. Amalekites are in every generation. They're the people who kill people for no reason, for no nothing. That represents Amalek. Now, it was hard. And the Medrash says that Saul had a problem with this order. Killing everybody. Then the Medrash says, God, so to speak, told them, don't be so righteous. And sometimes you cannot leave it for your own logic. There is, in mitzvahs, there is logical mitzvahs, and there is above logic mitzvahs, right? What is an example for a mitzvah that's above logic?
Kasher.
Kashrut, for example. Huh? For example,
Very
keeping
different.
kosher. People say, oh, they eat in the meat and the milk. Who said it's so bad? I don't think it's so bad. And some doctors will say it's bad, sometimes will say. So I had this week, I had the conversation with the guy. He tells me his daughter is in Israel. She comes, she drives him crazy with the koshers and everything. He said, what kosher? I told him kosher. Jesse should be separated from the rest of the world. Forget about anything else. Don't need an explanation. That's really, because when you start to give explanations, always you run out of an explanation. Always will be a point that there is no explanation. You do it because Hashem said so. Circumcision.
Right.
Circumcision. Every person is afraid of the rabbi. Maybe you'll give him a priest. I don't know. People are afraid of the rabbi. Sometimes I want to tell people, guys, I'm not a moyer. What are you running away? Then God told them, the obliterate the Amalekites. Saul needed to connect to the above logic level. And he couldn't go there. And you know, there is another story. It was later we learned that he had mercy on some, right? Later there is a story about Saul who had no mercy whatsoever. Remember? What story is it?
David.
Prophets.
The priests of Nov.
The priest of Nov.
right.
Because he heard that the priest of Nov helped David, he killed the high priest with his family, with his children, with the babies, with 85 people. And I told them, it's kind of, when you are merciful and the cruel, you end up to be cruel and the merciful. You understand? When you are trying to be smarter than God, more merciful than God, when you start to do things according to your logic, that's it. Okay, number 4.
So Saul summoned the people and numbered them in Telaim 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah.
What does this mean, he numbered them in Tlaim? You know what it means? How can he count Jews? You're not allowed to count Jews, right? We just learned that last week.
Half a shekel each, right?
Yeah, then, but here he didn't give them money. Everyone took atle. What is atle?
To them?
Atle is a Passover a lamb. Everyone took a lamb from one place to the other, and then they count the lambs. 200,000. He counted them by that lamb, by how many lambs there were available. That's how he counted, but he didn't count people. And it was 200,000 men, and 10,000 from the tribe of Judah, right? Again, Judah is separated from the rest of the tribes. Okay, continue.
And Saul came to the city of Amalek and lay in wait in the valley. Saul said to the Kenites, "Go."
He laid and waited in the valley. That's what he translates it. In Hebrew, if you see number 6, 6 is Banachal. Nachal is in the valley. Before that, Vayorev. Vayorev means he was like fighting, but fighting it too. That's what the Medrash says. That Saul had a hard time with this commandment to kill everybody. He says, why to kill everybody? It's not right. If the Torah says that if you kill one person by mistake, if a person, homicide, if a person was died in the middle of the road, you have to bring sacrifices and atonement. And here we're going to kill him. And God told them, don't be so righteous, because one day you'll be too wicked. Okay, then number 6.
Saul said to the Canaanites, "Go depart."
Who is the Canaanites? Who is the Canaanites?
Is it the ones who came in disguise?
Oh?
Moses hung out with the Kenites.
No.
Weren't they a group along with his father-in-law?
Oh,
Jethro's
yeah,
descendants.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Because Jethro's descendants were always good to the Jewish people, and they lived together with the Amalekite, that Saul told the Canaanites, move out. Go ahead, continue, I'm sorry.
Go depart, go down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up from Egypt. So the Canaanites departed from among the
He
Amalekites.
said they remembered the good to the Canaanites because they were always nice to the Jewish people, that he said, get out of there. We don't want you should be hurt. This war was in the south of Israel.
Sorry.
Okay, I like it actually. Okay, continue, number 7.
And Saul struck down the Amalekites from Havilah all the way to Shur, east of Egypt. He captured Agag, the Amalek king, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
He captured Agag alive, and the whole nation, he destroyed the whole people. The people, he destroyed everybody. Okay, what happened later? Continue.
But Saul and the people spared Agag, also the best of the sheep, oxen, fatlings, lambs, everything of high value, and would not utterly destroy them.
Okay. But here it's written spared. In Hebrew, number 9, the beginning of the verse starts, Vayachmol. Spared, why spared? Why? He felt bad to destroy them. Not because he felt bad, because he was merciful. If he would be merciful, why he wouldn't kill the babies? He only spared Agag, the king, and the cows.
They can use the cows.
Because he says, why destroying it? We can have a good picnic.
Steak dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
That
wanted,
he did
he wanted to do it for his
for his own
soldiers.
sake. Yeah. Oh. Then why he kept the king? Because he wanted to bring the king alive. I conquered them. Look! He killed the king. Nobody knows there was a king. Nobody saw him. Bring the king alive. That's a party. That's a parade of success. He wanted to take credit. And could be there is other commentaries who say that in that time it was almost like a Geneva a convention agreement that you don't kill kings. The idea is, every king doesn't want to be killed. Everybody else can kill, but the king don't kill. Then, because that was the custom at that time, not to kill the king, that Saul didn't want to kill the king.
Out of respect.
But that's not what God said.
Oh,
He didn't understand.
then it's written, Saul wanted to spare Saul and the people, not only the people, right? So, but Saul and the people spared the Gag. Hamal means they felt bad. They wanted to keep a Gag, and also the best of the sheep, the fatling and the cow and the lamb and all this stuff. Yeah. Continue.
But everything that was despised and worthless, they destroyed utterly. Then God's word came to Samuel saying,
Everything that was not important, they destroyed. But the good stuff they kept for themselves. It's not written here that they want to offer sacrifice, nothing. They kept it for themselves, right? Okay, continue. Then God's word came to Samuel saying, okay,
Oy, I regret that I made Saul king.
I regret, God says, I regret that I made Saul king. God regretted the first time when he created the world, created man. It's written by Nochem Hashem. God regretted. That's why he brought the flood. He says, I regretted, God says, I regretted I made Saul for king. Why?
He turned his back from following me. He has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel. And he cried to God all night.
It grieved Samuel so badly that Samuel cried the whole night. Samuel loved the Saul. Such a nice boy. Such the perfect valedictorian, the best boy in town. Couldn't get any better than that. Humble, strong, nice, handsome, whatever you want. If we lose them, then who will? That Samuel prayed the whole night, maybe to change the decree of God. But that didn't happen. Number 12.
And when Samuel rose early in the morning to meet Saul, it was told to Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a monument for himself, turned and left, and went down to Gilgal.
He set up a monument for himself. Saul, the humble guy, is setting up a monument for himself. That was the problem.
This is way up north of it. It's in Carmel, right?
No, there is another Carmel in Hebron.
Okay.
But later he went to Gilgal. Where is Gilgal?
Isn't that northeast?
Also not too far from there. But this is not the Carmel in Haifa. No.
Okay.
No, it's the Carmel in Ar Hebron, around Hebron Mountain, somewhere down. Then he heard that Saul set up himself a monument. I'm a macher. I won the fight. That was a war of God. It's God's war against the Amalekites. It's nothing to do with you, Saul. Saul put himself in between. That was the problem. Okay. And then he's going to Gilgal. Gilgal was the temple was in. No, the temple was not in Gilgal at that time. But the temple was in Gilgal. At that time, the temple was already in Nov. No, Shiloh was destroyed. Shiloh was right before that.
Okay.
It was in Nov already. Givon, or maybe in Givon, one of these. He went to Gilgal because that was the first place the Jewish people entered to Israel. They set up the temple there for 14 years. That was like the key to Israel. Okay. Samuel went to meet him there. Go ahead.
And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed be you of God, I have performed God's commandment.
Saul says, Akimoisi dvar Hashem. I fulfilled God's commandment. He meets Saul. He meets Samuel is his mentor. Samuel is his prophet. Samuel is the one who made him king. Samuel is the one who gave him the order. He comes to Samuel, gives him 2 hands. I fulfilled the will of God. And Samuel said,
Then what is all this bleating of sheep and lowing of oxen which I hear?
What I hear, tell me what I hear something. I'm wrong?
All the good-looking ones.
Do I hear something? Maybe I'm dreaming? Saul said,
They have brought them
you
from
want to
the
continue?
Saul said, "They have brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and oxen to sacrifice to God, your Lord, and the rest we utterly destroyed."
Oh, here is also another problem. Huh?
Your Lord.
He said, first of all, he blamed the people. He said the people spared. In the beginning we read, Saul and the people spared. It wasn't just the people. He threw it off him. He blamed the people.
And now it's sacrificing to God. Before
Number two, it's sacrifice for God. Nobody was thinking about sacrificing when they took it. They were thinking about the good shish kebab, you know? They were not thinking about God. Suddenly, Samuel gives them the look. He says, no, it's for God. The two problems here, a leader should take blame, take responsibility. Even if the people did, he should blame himself. Aaron made the golden calf, he should be blamed to save the people. The king who says, they made me do. They did it. First of all, they did it, he said. They did it. Even if it would be true, he shouldn't say they did it.
We see the contrast with David. David later admits it. Says, I was wrong.
There is two difference between King David. But also David always took responsibility, never blamed others. He said, I did it. It's my fault. That's a leader. Okay. We are number 16, right? Go ahead, continue.
Then Samuel said to Saul, "Wait, and I will tell you what God has said to me this night."
Okay.
And he said to him,
When he said wait, he like interrupt him. In Hebrew, the word is eref. Stop talking. That's what eref means. Don't talk so much. I want to tell you what God told me tonight. Why are you giving me the stories? You made it for the sake of God. Okay. What he tells him, go ahead. And he said to him, say on, speak.
And Samuel said, when you were little in your own sight, were you not made the head of the tribes of Israel? God anointed you king over Israel.
He told him, if you are humble in your own eyes, maybe you don't understand your responsibility. You are the king of Israel. And you have to what are you telling me? The people said, who is the boss here? Continue.
God sent you on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are exterminated. Why then did you not obey God's voice, but rushed upon the spoils and did evil in God's sight?
It says God sent you for a special war, a war of God. Why are you bringing me spoils? Why are you giving me stories? Continue.
Saul said to Samuel, indeed I obeyed God's voice and went the way which God sent me.
Again he says, I obeyed God's word. He said it 5 lines before that. Here he says, I did what Hashem told me. Shamati b'koil Hashem. I obeyed God's voice, and I went in the way, continue, I'm sorry.
I brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites.
Okay, here, first of all, until now, Samuel didn't know that Agag is still alive. Samuel only heard the cows, the animals. He, by the way, gives them more information. I bought Agag, really. But the people, now he blames again the people.
But the people took of the spoils, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which would have been destroyed to sacrifice to God your Lord in Gilgal.
He tells them the same story. Twice Samuel gave him a chance to say I'm sorry, and he couldn't get himself saying it. No, there's one of the famous questions, as we're going to learn some. Okay, let's continue.
Saul probably didn't think that he did anything wrong.
But
Why,
God told
why
them,
would why wouldn't
God
he have
told them
obeyed?
to
Why wouldn't
destroy
he,
everything.
yeah,
He's,
but
he's rationalizing.
why
at this
wouldn't he
point.
have done what God? There's a disconnect there.
There's a problem. There's a disconnect.
Why,
Yeah.
why does he keep referring to God, your Lord, instead of our Lord? Is it just a translation thing, or is he saying, well, he's really not all mine, he's yours. You
No,
can
no,
tell me.
no, no.
I'm just
He was
curious.
more. He is kind of more. It's out of respect, you can say. He tells them, "God, your Lord," because Samuel is the prophet. I don't think they can read into it that he didn't think it is God. No,
Okay.
not at all. No. Okay, number 22.
Samuel said, "Does God delight as much in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying God's voice?"
Oh.
Good line.
This is the line that became the line of the Jewish people, of history, not just Jews. God needs sacrifices. God wants somebody to obey him. Behold, continue,
Behold, obedience is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams.
God needs us to listen to him. I need your sacrifice. God needs sacrifices. Alo ishmoya mizevach toiv. Better to listen. Don't be worried about it. It'll go away. Alo shmoya mizevach toiv. Better to listen to God than to do offer him sacrifices. What kind of sacrificing? You close the door. Turn on the other lights also. The lights are the other lights. Then that's what he tells them, and that became later. King David says it. It's written in a few places. That's what he tells them. Okay.
For rebellion is like the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is like iniquity and idol worship. Because you have rejected God's word, he has also rejected you from being king.
Whoa! He threw the bomb. He gave him a chance to do tshuva. You understand? He gave him a chance to say, "I'm sorry. Yeah, it was wrong. Maybe things wouldn't be the same." But Saul didn't say anything wrong. I did Hashem what Hashem wants. He gives them, what is this? Oh, they wanted this. And what is this? Who needs your sacrifices?
Stubbornness.
So what does this say about the sacrificial system at this point? It doesn't say that the sacrifices have been rejected, because it says that the sacrifices are
No.
necessary.
People take it to the far. God never said that he doesn't want sacrifices. He says, I want you to do what I tell you. The sacrifice that I tell you is good. The sacrifice I don't tell you is against me. It's like you cannot do a mitzvah and really it's a sin. The best example is that many people don't know about it. Is lighting candles Friday night. There is a certain time you can light candles before Shabbat. Shabbat is early in the winter. Let's say Shabbat is 6 o'clock or 5:30. You have to light candles before 5:30. If you light candles after 5:30, not only you don't do God's mitzvah, you're disobeying God because you're not allowed to make a fire. Then that's exactly what King David, what Saul wanted to do. It's like Samuel will tell us, better to listen than offer sacrifices. I need your mitzvah, I need the candles, I need you to listen. That's what I need you. God wants us to listen to him. Whatever he tells us, just do it. Don't be smarter. Don't be smarter, Alec. Do better than him.
Well, some people might think that they're wrong. That I'm still doing something. It's better than
That's
nothing.
we need to cut out this line and put it on the refrigerators. And now refrigerators. Then what is happening here? God rejected him as the king. Now the question is, King David, it's such a terrible thing, right? The story with Bathsheba. Terrible. God didn't reject him as a king. Rejected him as a king. What already sold it? He left the cows, big deal.
Right.
It's public.
Why Saul didn't survive as a king? And King David was forgiven, not only forgiven, loved. He's called the friend of Yedid Hashem, the beloved of God, you name. King David gets such good press in the Talmud, it's unbelievable.
Dynasty.
Everything. David is everything. You're right, dynasty.
But
Everything.
He always admitted his faults.
At number one, when Nathan the prophet came to him and gave him the example of the sheep, the man who had one sheep and one. Right away, David said, Chatasi, I sinned. Right away, admit it. They say that lately came out a study in America. The doctors that admit, that apologize, have much less lawsuits.
Sure.
Doctor comes in and says, I'm sorry, you made a mistake. That's what happened. I'm a human. If you don't apologize, we'll haunt you forever and ever. That's the same story. David says, I'm sorry, I sinned. Saul couldn't say it. He couldn't get the word out of his mouth. Later he did it. But here he couldn't. That's number one. But number two, it's even something more important. The sin that David made was a personal sin. No? It's a woman, fine. So it's his business, so to speak. King Saul, the sin that King Saul did, affected the whole Jewish people. Here we had an opportunity to eradicate the name of Amalek on the face of the earth, so to speak. Get rid of animosity to the Jewish people forever. He kept Agag alive. That night that Agag was alive, he pregnant a woman, and then continued. Haman came out from this. It's not about, depends what is the sin. There is one person that is doing a personal sin, fine. Then there is a sin that affects the whole nation. It's much worse. There's no forgiveness on that. Because we can forgive you a new sin, but what you caused to other people? Now, not just caused. The story of Purim was because Haman was a descendant of Amalek. Could be annihilated all Jewish people. Who was the two people who dealt with Haman?
Mordecai and Esther from the tribe of Benjamin.
Mordecai and Esther, descendants of King Saul. Kind of, my friend, if you mess up for your own kids, they will have to clean up. Now there's all discussion now in America, if you leave so much debt for the children and grandchildren, yeah, whatever we mess up, the grandchildren will deal with that.
A lot of irony there.
Irony. By the way, the Talmud is good on this type
Right,
of thing.
yes.
The irony that
Right.
shows every time.
Everywhere.
Every time. Oh, yeah, you did it. Oh, you grandfather. Oh, welcome. Enjoy it. King Saul did it. His great-grandchildren had to deal with it. That's why he lost his kingdom. Because it was something that affected the whole nation. If a leader is doing something personally wrong, he can be forgiven. If he's doing a mistake in the way he runs the country, if he gets the country involved in a war that was not needed. If it was not needed, I'm not saying it was, but in theory, that's much a bigger sin that another president did something personal. Fine, it's not nice, isn't it? It's personal. It didn't affect the whole nation. That's the difference in Saul and David.
That was Clinton's excuse.
I know. Number 24.
Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned, for I transgressed God's commandment and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice.
Now he's blaming again the people. If you're the people, well, that's what King Samuel told in the beginning. If you are humble in your own eyes, if you are small in your own eyes, don't forget that God made you the king of the Jewish people. Don't tell me you fear the people. You're the king. You set the rules. You know there is by King David, twice when Saul was running after him, there was two opportunities. Saul went into a cave to relieve himself, and in the cave were hiding David and his people, and they wanted to kill Saul twice. And David says, you don't touch him. They were running from Saul who wants to kill them. They were so... David said, no, you don't touch him. David exercised leadership. Your Saul couldn't exercise this leadership.
Now therefore, please pardon my sin and return with me, so that I may worship God. Samuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected God's word, and God has rejected you as king over Israel.
Too little, too late.
Now it says, forgive me and come back with me. The whole crowd is waiting for him. If Samuel is not coming back with them, it's like another day. He says, let's go back to the people and at least show me solidarity.
I will not return.
Samuel didn't want to. Go ahead.
And as Samuel turned around to leave, Saul took hold of the corner of his robe and it tore.
Which robe? Who is robe?
What's this?
Saul's robe.
It's ambiguous.
Samuel's
It
robe.
says Samuel.
Some people say Saul's robe, some Samuel's robe. Samuel is known for his robe. His mother made him a robe when he was a little boy. Even later, you know the story of Saul going to witchcraft, to a woman who can bring people up in seance.
The Witch of Endor.
Yeah, in Bendor
Endor. Yeah.
and Endor, yeah. And he went there, he says, bring me up a person. She brought up Samuel. That the way the Bible describes Samuel, she said, I see a man with a coat. Even in afterlife, the coat was there. Certain people have a certain symbol. You see them all always did the same coat, did the same thing. That was Samuel. Then he was kind of trying to beg Samuel to go with him, beg him to turn around and a piece of this was torn. What happened? Okay.
Samuel said to him, God has torn the kingdom of Israel from you today and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you.
God turned, he told them. God turned the kingdom from you because the kingdom mental of leadership, so to speak.
Don't waste any time either.
And he says he gave it to somebody better. You didn't tell him David because he was afraid he will kill him or something. He didn't tell him who. And I don't think Samuel at that moment also didn't know. He told him it'd be somebody better than you. Now, at that point, Samuel didn't know. Later he knew about it.
Didn't David also rip off a piece from Saul's garment?
Later in the story, when David was had a chance to kill Saul in the cave,
Right.
he tore a piece of his clothing. And then he came out and told him.
Right.
And when Saul saw that he tore the piece of the clothing, he said, talking about irony? He said, I remember. That's you're the king. Then, only then, Saul clicked that David is the king. Because he told them, when he tore the clothing, God gave it to somebody who's better than you. And this guy tore his clothing, his piece of clothing. He said, he made the link, the connection. All connected. Number 29. Go ahead.
And also the Eternal One of Israel will not lie or change his mind, for he is not a man that he should change his mind.
That's very interesting. He says God will not change his mind. It's done. Because usually there is a concept of tshuva. God repents. God forgives. And Maimonides says that God can change from bad to good. If the prophet predicts something bad, God can change it later. And it doesn't mean that the prophet is a liar. Because if people do tshuva, repent, and ask for forgiveness and pray to God, God forgives them.
So what does it mean here that
And
God
God
does
can-
not change his mind? In what sense is
I
that?
think in the sense, at this point, it was already, because it tore it in the garment, it was like already a done deal.
Mhm.
It's not going to change.
It's beyond repentance.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's I think what it means.
Repentance is already a
Yeah,
foregone
it's
option.
too late, so
Mhm.
to speak.
The other question about this particular line is God is not a man. This is one of 3 references, at least, in our Torah that say that.
No.
Do you think that is a statement of philosophy in the sense that precludes the concept of Christianity here?
I never thought about that. But, you can say it, yeah. I mean, I never needed a proof that God is not a man. You understand what I'm saying? A proof from the Bible. But you can say it. I mean, it's written clear. There is one of 3 places. Where are the other 2?
Numbers, and I forget where the
Numbers,
third one is.
in what connection?
Chapter
In what
11, I
context?
think it is. Same quotation, basically.
Kiloyodomo. Yeah. I remember something. Let's see. Numbers chapter 11.
Could be off in the chapter. I know it's in Numbers somewhere.
Let's see. Just one second. I cannot find the chapters here. Chapter 20. Oh, you said chapter 11. Chapter 11 should be after this. Ten. 11, okay. Chapter 11. Yeah.
Plus one Hosea. I don't know. Like I said, it may not be chapter 11, but I know it's somewhere numbers.
That makes sense, it's here somewhere. I don't see it in chapter 11. I looked fast, but could it's somewhere. No, but I believe you. I mean, it should be somewhere around there.
So another Haftorah from Hosea, too.
It makes sense. But it makes sense, but I never thought about it, but it makes sense, yeah. Number 3. Go ahead.
Then he said, I have sinned, but please honor me now before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me, so that I may worship God your Lord. So Samuel returned with Saul, and Saul worshipped God. Then Samuel said, Bring here to me Agag, the Amalek king. And God came to him cheerfully, saying, Surely the bitterness of death has passed.
He thought it's over. Samuel's such a nice guy. You want to do it to him? Phew.
Little does he know. And Samuel said, As your sword has made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. Then Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before God in Gilgal. And Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to the house of Giva of Saul.
Now, that ever since then, there was a meeting between Saul and Samuel?
I don't think they ever
I don't
talked
think they
again.
never talked again. That was it.
I think one more time Saul came to Samuel.
For what?
I don't remember what happened. It says that Samuel never went to see Saul again.
Yeah.
Saul came to Samuel.
Uh-huh. Maybe.
Well, we know after
Why
death.
did Samuel
he
need a
can't go.
reason to kill Agag?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Since your sword has...
He just told them an explanation.
You're a murderer, that's why I'm killing you.
Yes. No, he killed him because he's an Amalekite, but he says you have another reason, not just because you're an Amalekite, because you're a killer.
But isn't it because he's a Amalekite enough of a reason? Just what is he saying?
What?
Why is he saying that? Because
He gave him another reason why he killed him. Then what is going on here is that's the story with Samuel. With Saul, that Saul didn't finish the job. And then that's in the prophet. Then in the scripture is the book of the Megillah, the story of Haman. I wanted to destroy the Jewish people. And since then, whenever we see a person, a leader who hates Jews for just Jews, I heard a story from the chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Lau. He says he was in New York and he met with the mayor of New York, Ed Koch. And he told them, introduced himself, he says, I heard that you're a Holocaust survivor, he tells Rabbi Lau. I'm also a Holocaust survivor. Then he looks from like, he looks from New York like pretty happy. How are you a Holocaust survivor? That he told them once he went for a trip of mayors to Berlin. They gave him a trip. Mayors from all over the world. And he says they went to the office of Hitler, and on the floor was a big globe. And on the globe was numbers with a pen, with a red pen, whatever. Numbers. I said, what's the numbers? They told him, Hitler made sure to know in every country, in every place, how many Jews are there. And in one place was written one Jew. Mm-hmm. That Ed Koch told them, I'm also a survivor. Because really Hitler's plan was to kill everybody. Get rid of everyone. Mm-hmm. That's Amalek. Amalek is a hatred that's beyond logic. When it's an hatred that's beyond logic, you have to fight it also in a way that's beyond logic. That's above. You cannot say, oh, but if you feel bad, because if you feel bad here, if you are, as the Talmud says, we quoted before, when you are merciful to the cruel, you are cruel to the merciful. If you spare a terrorist, you will kill another innocent person. You cannot be nice. But what does this mean? As we said in the beginning, today we don't have Amalek. What it means today is in our spiritual world, we have to eradicate the Amalekites and our the the doubts, the maybes, the questions, is when you connect to God on above logic level. God said to do it, we do it. Everything else will work out. Because when a Jew is doing a mitzvah like a Brit Milah, he doesn't do it because it makes sense. You ask him, hey, why are you doing a Brit Milah? He doesn't have a good explanation. I tell people always, and if I would be able, not be able on the beam, can be able with a microphone standing by the door when people come to shul, says, Mr. Joshua, why are you here today? My mother told me to come. My wife told me, my mother-in-law, I don't know myself. I came because I felt guilty. Nobody has a good explanation. You know why they're there? Because it's above logic. Because something inside them pulls them to sin again. And Yom Kippur, it's revealed in every Jew that above logic connection. And that's the connection what we need to reveal every day of the year. When you connect to the Jew on this level, you made it. We dig in our soul, we dig until we find this connection that's above logic, and we hook it up. Now you can fly, you can go anywhere. The moment it's logic, oh, this doesn't make sense, and with this verse I'm not comfortable, and with this I'm not this, and I have a question about it, and I disagree with Rabbi Akiva, and who says Rabbi Tav was right. Everyone is a chochem, everyone is a philosopher. Connect to the connection, to your deep connection to God. You connect, it doesn't make a difference who said what. You do it.